It's been a few months since we did the last one. I had the problem then of it's 100 degrees. We were out in the middle of a drought, allergies, and a fire ban, so we couldn't do any of these tests and couldn't light them up for you. So this time we're going to do a little bit different. It's a little bit cooler this time, and if you look at the thermometer there, it's about 43 degrees. And we got our friend, our fire extinguisher, and we're going to be doing this video, the one on the right, which is the 2 block, and we're just going to bring it off the ground a little bit and take that by itself. So let me get set up and we'll do that one. And I want to show you the difference between the temperature of the block as it heats up, both inside and outside, so you can see a little bit of the dynamics of the test. Also, we're just going to try and warm up a little bit of water. Let me show you a little bit, show you first what the temperature of the blocks are. It's 55 degrees. So with that in mind, I'm going to start trying to get this thing lit. Stand by. Now you notice, like we talked about before in the first video, you need to get it off the ground. We're also going to be doing a test. Might as well do 2 at the same time. Got some pine cones over here. I'm not married to pine cones. I just got a bunch of them around I want to get rid of. And some scraps from when I was splitting wood on the right side. So, and then I put a grate on top because it's a little windy out here today. Let's see if we can get this thing started. Now let's just hurry up and wait for a minute. We're about 3 minutes in, and looks like it's going pretty good. One on the left, the pine cones are still kind of catching. I've got some more bigger blocks or a little bigger chips on the wood on the right side. So now I'm going to put the other cinder block on top, show you how this works, and then put the griddle on top and see if we can get some water hot up, heated up. Let's do a little combustion or temperature comparison. We're going to be measuring the bottom block because I just put the top one on, and we'll see how much heat the pine cones are generating, and the wood. You can see the pine cones are generating a lot more smoke because they haven't caught fire yet and we don't have any coals or embers. So let's take a peek. Pine cones are at 88 degrees. And the wood's about 148. Interesting comparison. Just put some water in there. So let's start this at about 11:16. Oh, let me see here. About 11:16 and see what happens. I didn't measure it. It's close enough. We're not going to be that digital, are we, guys? Stand by. We also have a difference between the one on the left is a wider pan, more surface area, more heat, and then the one on the right is taller and narrower and maybe a little deeper. But the point we're going to make here is this will boil water. So we're about 3 minutes in and we're starting to get small bubbles on the one on the right. Probably over 900 degrees in there, and at this altitude it may boil, but it's not going to boil at 212 because every 500 feet in elevation you lose a degree. So at 6,500 feet we're going to probably be about 180, 90 degrees, high 80s, 190 degrees for it to boil. And pine cones are 181. You need 100, and we have a rolling boil on the right at about 4 minutes. That's an awesome boil. right, on the left, I'm sorry, it's 205. You can see it's starting to boil. So you can cook on top of a 2 cinder block rocket stove. Another thing you might want to notice, just for grins, my supports at the bottom are starting to burn. Got a couple scraps from Home Depot and cut them down and put 2 half-inch pieces on there. Now we're starting to get a boil on the left. It's still 204. Probably need some more pine cones. Looks like it's dying down a little bit. But, ladies and gentlemen, this thing works. Let's do one more check. I hope you can see the red hot coals in there. Just to give you an idea, remember the one on the top was the one on the right, which would be the wood. We'll read it's too high. $858 degrees. If I went down close to the coals, it wouldn't read because it says it's too high. Pine cones 931. The top cinder block on the left is 575. Top cinder block on the right, 711. I think we've got enough heat, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you've found out something that you can take something simple like 2 cinder blocks and cook over it. Heat, do whatever you want. Just be careful outside. Look at the bottom. Remember, you can burn whatever sorts. You can use rocks or stones or some bricks or whatever. And just be careful out there. Also remember, this one is the one I anticipate through our tests is going to be the worst because it's not ventilated, it's not burning real well. It's not getting enough air for combustion like the others do over here. Decided to show you what happens after it cools down. While we were doing this, we used this laser grip to check temperature. This only goes up to 999.9 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why a couple times when you saw us or saw me using it and it said high, that's because it didn't read after that. So it was over 1,000 degrees in a couple times. And we used this little guy to start the fire. Now, one of the things you need to remember is these things are dangerous. You need to take them apart, and you can see as we take them apart here, these are all black. There's a lot of soot. But what you need to remember is they get extremely hot. Cinder blocks aren't designed for this kind of temperature, so when we found out later on, it came apart and it didn't quite blow up, but you can see how intensely hot it was in the bottom, and as it started getting flames and it started soot coming out. But I think it was the fact that when it was cooling down, I wasn't really patient, and I poured some cold water in there and heard it crack. So try not to cool it down that fast. But it wasn't wet. Just like with the pine cones, they were still a little wet from the winter, and that's why we got a little smoke. So you need to be careful with the materials you're using. So appreciate your watching, and we're going to look at a couple more or see what they can do. When I said that this one was the most unpredictable or probably the hardest one to do, I meant it's hardest to control the temperature. With the others, we're going to be able to look at them, they're going to have ventilation, and you're going to be able to adjust the temperature by adding fuel or blocking off holes. This one basically acts like a ramjet with air coming in through the bottom and just just forcing it through here, and it just burned as fast as the air could come through. That's why they call it a rocket stove. So I hope to see you on the next videos. We'll be coming out with one every, well, more frequent than we have, or I have at least recently. I hope you can remember to do what you normally do. Like, subscribe, write some comments, be nice to me. It's kind of just a fun thing for me to do. And don't forget to ring the bell, and I'll let you know when the next one comes out. Thanks for watching. Be careful out there.